Hey everyone, this is Austin Schur here with We Write About Music, and today I am speaking with Destina. She has just released a fantastic new track called Shouldn't We, and I'm super excited to have her on. Destina, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
Fantastic. It is Sunday, and I couldn't be happier. This is easily the highlight of my day. I can confidently say that.
Oh, that's great. I love
Nice.
that.
What's news on your end?
What'd you say?
What's news on your end?
News. Well, I just released my new single a
Yes.
couple weeks ago. I have another one coming out soon. I'm going to announce it this week at some point.
Very cool.
But just lots of fun music stuff, just
Staying
getting
busy
things.
sounds like.
Yeah, yes, definitely. Writing a
Awesome.
ton. It's been fun. It's been really
Nice.
fun.
Well, I want to hop right into it. Like I said before we started recording, I've listened to the song probably 5 times already, and I love it. It's one of those like instantly catchy ones that just gets stuck in your head for the best reasons.
Oh my
But
gosh, me.
I want to know what it's about. I want to hear from you, like what inspired it, and really what the message is.
So I work with this producer out here. His name is Quill, and he used to work with my husband because my husband's in music too.
Okay.
Um, and so we just got together one day, and um, it ended. I thought it was just going to be like a random like write, and then it
Hmm.
turned into this like more of like, oh wow, we write really fun songs together. We have like a good thing going here, so we just continuously kind of get people in with our rights too. So we'll get like
Sure.
third person come in. So I was going in to just have a normal writing session with him, and then one of um, the artists that he normally works with, his name is Manuel. He used to be in a band called Group One Crew, which I used to grow up listening to them, which is
Nice.
funny. So he does like Manuel does like a ton of like Spanish pop, regular pop kind of music, and then he does a lot of sync stuff, so like TV and film music. So he happened to be there that day, and he's like, my producer was like, "Hey, do you want to, Manuel? Do you want to just like stick around and like write the song with us?" We're like, he just was like, "Sure." So then we already had the track kind of going.
Okay.
My producer already like started something fun going, and I loved the vibe. It was like it gave me
Yeah.
like Dua Lipa a little bit, like just like the
Totally.
classic kind of pop sound, yeah. And so we just started coming up with the melody. And honestly, there wasn't, I wouldn't say there was something like a time in my life that sparked this specific storyline. The storyline just kind of came about because of just the feeling that it gave me brought upon like, okay, like I feel like this song should be about like when you meet someone and you don't expect to meet them and you're just like out and about in the moment and you're like, wait a second, let's like I'm drawn to this person, like let's be crazy, let's fall in love, or
Right.
crazy,
Yeah,
it
all
just kind
about
of,
being spontaneous.
yeah, it kind of gave us that type of feeling. And especially the melody we came up with was like the but da 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 da. So then that is
Right.
what kind of brought that whole the whole thing together.
I
So
love it,
anyway,
but it sounds like it came together pretty quickly, right?
yes, oh
Yeah,
yeah.
which is like I think some of the best songs just kind of happen. You don't have to think about them too much. They just form on their own instead of
Happen.
spending months on end, which is kind of the
Oh
best.
yeah. Oh totally.
So that's
It was,
awesome.
yeah, it was fun. It was a really fun process. So
Very cool.
that was last year. So it's been a little bit, it's been in the works for a bit, but
Okay, yeah, that actually I'm happy you brought that up. Brings me to my next thing. From what I understand, you've had a lot going on. So I want to hear a bit about like your background. Like I know you were on The Voice for a little bit. Did that have any impact in like the music that you're making now and like release dates? Like I just want to hear it from you because it sounded like you've been busy, which is obviously a good thing.
yes. I was on season 17. So that was a couple years ago, like
Okay.
2019. But ever since then, I didn't quite know if I wanted to do the full on pop route. I knew that
Sure.
like on the show, it just that's kind of what made sense of what I started just auditioning with was
Yeah.
just classic songs and then some pop. I did like a Demi Lovato song. And so after the show, I kind of hit a point where I was like, do I want to go full on pop or do I want to go into like Christian music? Because that was also something that I wanted that I was pursuing before The Voice.
Got it.
So then after the show, I released Tiny Dancer, which is just like, it was just a cover of it was my battle song.
Sure.
And so I wanted to do my own version of it. And so I had so much fun creating that type of like pop, total different, it's a whole new song basically.
Yeah.
And so then after that point, I was like, I think I just love pop. Like, I think that's where my heart kind of is. It's just fun. I listen to it all the time. Like, that's always what's on my playlist. The
Yeah.
top
Well, you
40.
got to write what you know. And you also, like, if you're the one spending the time and putting the energy in, you shouldn't be making music that you wouldn't listen to yourself at the end of the day. So, like,
Yeah. I just realized, like, I don't know, this is just kind of, this is making sense. And so, that's kind of what sparked it. And then ever since then, I just started writing a ton of music that was geared towards that type of realm. And ever since then, we've just been, I've been trying to find my sound. That was the main thing.
sure.
Like, what makes me different kind of thing than someone else who's doing pop. And so that's when I kind of honed in on my Mexican heritage, and like, I have a Spanish background, and my whole family speaks Spanish. It was something that I had never really connected,
Sure.
but made sense once the idea was brought up. I was like, oh my gosh, like, duh, and
No, I love that. And also,
yeah.
like, for someone who is an independent artist and definitely on the emerging side, like, as you continue to release music, especially for someone that's just putting out single by single, gives you the chance to experiment, gives you the chance to kind of see what people like and get the feedback song by song, but also doesn't pigeonhole you to make just one kind of thing. Like, this obviously is like a Latin inspired pop song, which is great, and it's got all that energy. But then the next song, like, you could flip it 180 and do something completely different just to see what people want.
100%. Yeah, that's exactly
I love
what
that.
makes it kind of, just releasing it, seeing how it responds, and
Totally.
what people feel, and how I just want them to have fun.
I agree. And like, I don't want to ask too many questions about this next single, but I will ask just a general, are we going to see any amount of experimentation? Are we going to see a different side of your artistry?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a different, it's a whole different, it's definitely pop, but it's got that.
Sure. But pop is such a broad term nowadays. Pop is everything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a little bit more vulnerable, I'd say.
Okay.
Like, it comes an actual experience. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about that.
And so how long have you been making music for as a whole?
Oh my goodness. Well, I've been singing since I was little. That was always.
That makes sense. That's usually where it starts.
It always starts when you're little.
Yeah.
I feel like, but making music and really taking it seriously, songwriting was always something that I kind of did when I was growing up without realizing it. Like, I would come up with melodies and stuff in the shower, like random stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
again, where it all starts.
Yeah.
When you think you're by yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the acoustics in the bathroom, there's no better place to sing music. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's unmatched. It's so, so then I started taking it more seriously after high school. I was like, well, what do I want to do?
Sure.
Do I want to go to college? Do I want to, go for the music thing? So I went to a music school. It was a worship
nice.
I grew up doing worship. I still lead worship at my church and here in Nashville. And so that's always been my heart too. And so I went to worship school. That's when I honed in more on like the methods of songwriting. Like, there's so many different aspects behind it. Some people just have it naturally, and then some people, it's like a kind of a little bit of a learning curve. There is like a science sometimes to it. Just like the syllables, like little things here and there. So what I learned was all of like the back end stuff, and then that's when I started writing more seriously, and then co-writing with like part of the I remember the assignments were like genuinely writing a song and then playing it for your whole class, like that kind of thing.
That sounds scary, to be honest.
Oh, it was terrifying.
In my opinion, yeah.
I had never played a song of my own, besides maybe one time when I like wrote something for my grandma or wrote something for my friend, but them, So this was my first time actually like showing something I've written. I was so terrified. It was really scary at the time. But I mean, it still is, there's a level of like, oh my
Yeah,
gosh, my baby, my creation, like, oh,
totally. I mean,
and
you're always being judged in some capacity and you just want the best for
totally.
yourself. And it's
I
tough
know,
because when you're making music, ultimately you probably heard the song 1,000 times and it starts to feel old and you second guess
right,
yourself, but
right.
you need a team behind you, or you need at least need honest people to be honest and tell you like, hey, like this is great, but this could be changed. And like that's like, you know,
Yes.
the
Yeah.
concrete of making it. Can't be surrounded by yes people all the time.
I know. Yeah. You need those people that are going to be truthful in love, of course. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So now that you've gone through this process, this isn't your first single. Is there anything that you look forward to the most when starting a new song? Like the initial enjoyment, or even just like being done with it and like, oh, thank goodness we're finished.
What do I enjoy the most of
Yeah,
it?
anything that like gets you going.
Mm, I think I just think about the end result and picturing it in like full production like mode. And once we start a song and I
There
get
you
a
go.
glimpse of what it could be, it excites me. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be killer. It's gonna be awesome. Like I can't wait.
Right.
Um, so that it's always, I mean, that at the end of it, it's so rewarding. It's the best feeling. And that's how I feel like whether it's, when someone doesn't know what they want to do, I feel like, once you finish the product of something and you're just like, there's nothing that can compare to that feeling of accomplishment.
True.
And I feel like I'm just like living my dream. It's great. I'm like, this is what I'm made to do. I love it. It's so
That's what it's
fun.
all about. Now, there may
Yeah.
not be an answer to this question, but I have to ask anyways. How do you know when a song is finished? Like, what is
Hmm.
that point for you where you're like, okay, that's it, nothing more, nothing less?
I feel like there's different aspects to that. So there's like the lyric side, which that side of it, when you're co-writing, especially, like we typically, I like to make sure that is squared away.
Sure.
Sometimes we'll be like, hey, let's put this word in for now because we can't think of a better phrase for this type of word, something like that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, it's like it could always, in your mind, it's like it could always be better. And there's
Right.
still sometimes where I'll listen to like a final mix of the song and I'm like, oh, I could have done this run. I could have done this. Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think like completing the song, doing a demo, listening back to it, sitting with the song really helps to just, if you have something else, you're like, oh, you know what? I think this fits better this way. But there's honestly no rush. And I mean, as an independent
True.
artist, that's the beauty of it.
That's
Sometimes
really nice.
the deadlines, but yeah, I would say like there is really no rush, and I really want it to be the best product ever. So if I feel like there's always something to change, there is that balance. So it's like, okay, am I just being a perfectionist, or does this really,
I was
you know?
I was just gonna say that is like,
Yeah,
whether you want to admit it or not, any artist doesn't need to be music. It can be like painting or whatever it is. There's a
right.
low grade. Everyone is a perfectionist, whether what they want to admit it. And I think
Totally.
it's different in your situation because your name is on it. There isn't a band name to hide behind. When people hear your music, they immediately associate it with you. And that probably builds the pressure, if I had to guess myself.
Oh,
But
definitely.
like it ups that, the professionalism. You just want it to be good for the world to enjoy. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. 100%. I
Yeah,
couldn't agree more.
get it.
Yep. Your name's on it. So,
I think that's it.
you
Are you currently playing shows, or is that something that you have in the works? I want to hear about that a little bit.
yeah, that's something I'm definitely having more in the works. So I
Cool.
did play my first show in Nashville for the very first time. That was so fun.
Nice. That's cool.
Um, well, I guess you could say it's my second one because I played one a couple years ago,
Okay.
right after Voice. But I took a little break just because I had written stuff, before The Voice, but I really feel like I had grown so much that
Yeah.
there was a whole new era that needed to be written.
Absolutely.
And
I mean,
so
you're growing all the time. I get it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I really felt like I needed to spend time on what that was, and so that's kind of why I took a little pause. And then the pandemic, of course, it was right around that time too.
Yeah.
So that took a hit, and
Yep.
honestly, it really allowed me to pay attention to the writing process a little bit more, which I'm all for and I love
Oh,
it. And so now that I feel like I'm there. My sound is put together. I have more of a better idea of what direction I'm heading into. Now I'm like, okay, I have these songs. I'm ready for them to be out for people to listen to.
There you
So yeah,
go.
I'm.
I love that.
Mhm.
You take your time with it, you experiment, and then you get out there and perform them. And I think there's probably no better feeling, in my opinion. So
100%. Yeah.
incredible.
Yes.
So we like it's hard to believe that we're past the halfway point of this year. This is usually something that I ask at the beginning of the year, but it doesn't really matter. So what does the next year of
Yeah.
your life look like? It doesn't have to be
Mm,
definite because no one knows, but like I suppose what are some lofty goals that you'd like to hit?
yeah. So the biggest thing I had for this year was releasing. I'm like, it's time. We're gonna release it. And so now, as I'm rolling into this next year, which is so crazy, I want the same. I want to approach it the same thing. I have like these certain personal goals, but all in all, I just want to like not be afraid too much and not be afraid of what
Yeah,
people think of me, or just let fear rule my decisions.
I love
There's
that.
the healthy kind of fear, that's like good, but then there's, I mean, good in a sense of like, oh hey, like maybe we need to, put a pause on this just for
Yeah,
us, personal reasons, something like that. But I really think it's I've had those moments where I'm just so afraid to like make a move because I'm not sure. Like I'm a one on the Enneagram. So I'm a perfectionist. Like I'm
sure.
just like it has to be the right moment, the right time, that kind of thing. And so I've had to let go of that this year, and I feel like I'm working on it, like I'm doing
That's
it.
yeah. That's not a year goal. That's a lifelong thing in your
Yeah,
personal life, not just in your professional life. Like you always,
totally.
yeah. I'm fully. I think a lot of people can relate to that. So
Yeah, I just want to do it. I just want to
yeah,
keep
man,
going. Like, I want to
gotta
take
keep it up.
risks.
That's what it's
Yeah,
all
and
about.
just like put myself out there and
Yeah.
have fun and
Yeah, you don't
do
want
it.
to look back in 10 years and be like, dang, I should have done this, and
No,
this. You just do it,
I know.
fail, whatever. If you succeed, hell yeah. Keep it going.
Exactly. You just got to do it.
Yes. I've got a couple more for you. I want to know what are you listening to? Like, what's been on your playlist lately, or any like even local artists that you can recommend? What's been exciting you these
Okay.
days?
Yes. Okay. I have a playlist going that I created. I love Lennon Stella. Her music
Oh,
is
she's
like
great.
my favorite. Yeah. So she's just a solid inspiration.
Yeah,
Um, Post Malone. I
sure.
love Lemon Tree. That's like my favorite song right now. Have you
Okay.
heard that one?
I don't think I have.
It's off the new album.
All
You
right,
should listen. Really good.
I will.
Um, who else? Honestly, some of those TikTok songs I end up liking. Like I'll be like, "Whoa, what song is
Yeah,
that?"
I get that. They're addicting for a reason.
Yeah, and then I end
Except
up
when they get sped up, and I'm like, wait, is this the real version or the sped up?
yes, I know. I'm always like,
I don't
this
know.
their voice sounds too high. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
but I'd say those are like my top two that are in my playlist currently. Local artists, I have a friend Bree Fletcher. She does like some country pop,
Sweet.
and so I love her songs. She's been releasing a ton, so I love listening to her stuff too. So
Very cool. Well, I've got one more for you, and it's how I like to close these up. Basically, the question is for the person that is going to discover you from this, for the person that is going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
ooh, um, an opening message I like to say to them is, well, hello, welcome, welcome to my world. No, I'm kidding. But I just want them to know that I'm excited that they're, interested in listening, and I just want them to have fun. If they find a song of mine that they're like, roll the windows down, let's like scream this and have fun to the song, like go for it. Like that's the kind of feeling I want. I want to create an experience for my listeners, or just people who listen to my music. And so if they can fully just like experience it and make them feel a feeling, whether it's like something that brings up a memory or just something. I
Yeah,
always attach music to memory. So if I can do that for someone new that finds me, that is an accomplishment in my book. So
I think that's a
that's what
great opening message. You nailed it. You
thank
nailed
you.
it. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, and I'm so happy that we can make this work. Please let me plug your music for you one more time. The song is called Shouldn't We. We will have links in the article so that people can listen and share and follow along and do all that fun stuff. But it also sounds like there's a ton more on the way, so I am personally invested at this point. I can't wait to see how your sound changes and what else comes out.
Amazing. Thanks, Austin.
You're very
You
welcome. I hope you have a
um,
great rest of your day and have a great time in LA.
Thank you. Thanks. Have a fun
Great.
trip.
Thank
Bye.
you. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye.